Was I obese? Yes. Real fat. Real fat.
Like, just because we big girls, that we can't get a nigga that look like Chris Brown, motherfucking Shamar Moore, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Just a Girl Show. My name is Janine. If you are new here, if you're new to the channel, of course, hit the subscribe button, turn notifications on so you never miss an episode. And if you are a subscriber, welcome back to the channel. So if y'all don't know anything about TikTok, TikTok is a vicious place, okay? I don't know what it is about that app, but that app is demonic. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of, it's like a lot of the unintelligent, miserable, bitter people on TikTok, right? And I've had my fair share of viral moments on TikTok and all the mess they try to, have with me. And that's what happens. Like, it's always somebody who's speaking out is going to catch it, right? Well, a mutual of mine on TikTok, her name is Dana. Those who may know her name is Dana Dane on there. And I like Dana. We had our kind of spat, not a spat. Let me take that back. I had spoke out about her making a post a while ago, saying that there's no good men or she's single by choice and something like that. And I had said, like, I think I had stitched it and just gave my opinion. I wasn't talking about her specifically, but just more like, this is why I think women need to change this mindset. I think that, you don't just decide to be single forever because you want to be. It's based on like what you've experienced. And she blocked me. Like, just one thing about Dana, she gonna block you quick. And I didn't come for her. I wasn't saying nothing bad about her, but speaking in general. And I guess just the creator that she is, if she sees people making videos about her, she will block them. And that's okay, right? We had a conversation about it, came together, realized when I was going through my hate on TikTok, she supported me and I support her. I support her, and I think what she does with her content is great, right? Now, I'm not somebody who's going to always say just because I like somebody's content, I can still have my stance on what I believe. And she has made it clear about her stance on dating. So I'm going to share this video of her just expressing where she is in her love life and being single. And she's also been celibate for 5 years. I'm going to share this quick video. We're going to come back and talk about it.
Cheers to accepting your fate and realizing that the men your age are just gonna be ugly, got kids, or they just losers. Happy Valentine's Day. Cheers. Unattractive men telling me that the men that I do find attractive don't want me, and that I'm overvaluing myself in the dating marketplace. Let the men that I find attractive tell me that, because you don't need to tell it to me, ugly. I don't like you. Right? So if you don't find me attractive, I don't need you to find me attractive, because I don't like you. I don't find you to be attractive, right? So honestly, that means we're on fair playing grounds. But for you to be sitting up and trying to speak for attractive men, I don't like that. I don't like that, and I don't understand why you would be doing that.
Okay, so this is where I am going to push back, right? Because I do think that we as Black women believe that men who are in their late 30s, 40s, whatever, have a bunch of kids. They're ugly, they're fat, they're this, they're that, which we know that that's not the reality. That's not true. That is your experience. And that's probably what you've been around, what you've been exposed to, because we know that majority of Black men don't even have kids. They don't have kids. So we cannot sit here and you're not looking at the stats. We are so focused on where we are that we tend to think that this is the reality everywhere, and it's not. Right. And again, Dana has shared that she has been celibate for 5 years. And cool. Right. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, a creator who came across some information about Dana, he is calling her out and share his stance on her. And I'm going to drop this video for y'all. We're going to come back and talk about it.
This post right here is for the fellas. I want to ask y'all a question. Y'all know who this woman is, right? Dana Dane. Right? The woman that gets on here like she floats above everyone else. Let me ask the fellas a question. Y'all hear her all the time talk about how she is celibate, how she's not dating, how there ain't no good men. on her level, right? Right. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think when she looked like a fucking beluga whale, she had that same mindset and that same outlook on life, them same standards? No. This is why I keep telling y'all, be careful about women that get online claiming they're not dating or they're celibate, right? Because more times than not, what they're trying to do is they're trying to snap back their coochie. They think that if they stop getting plowed and being used as a human trampoline, that somehow the vagina is going to snap back. It don't snap back. Once you create a hallway, it is a hallway. My point is this. Guarantee you, when she looked like this, she would sleep with anybody. And she probably got ran through. But now that she looks a little better after surgery and all that other nonsense, now she gets online thinking like she floats above everyone else. Fellas, whenever you hear a woman claiming she's not dating or celibate, that's AKA, I used to get used as a human trampoline, and now I'm not anymore because now I got values. Now I got standards.
So he shared her old photos. And from what I gather from him, his issue is the fact that he feels like she talks down on men, thinks she's better than women when she has no right to talk based on how she used to look, right? She's clearly, obviously, was a very plus size woman and she has lost weight, right? But this man feels like you don't have the right to talk how you talk. You don't have the right to say how you say what you're saying because you're basically you being single and celibate or whatever is not a choice. And y'all know I've shared my opinion on that before as well. I do not believe that majority of women, if any woman decides I want to be, unless it's like, religious purposes, but I want to be single for the rest of my life, like on purpose. Most of the time it's coming from a place of hurt, pain, trauma. Like there's something that's stemming that idea. Because again, our life don't reflect being alone. We have companionship, we have friends, we have animals. So we know that we're not meant to be alone.
Me being single at my age didn't come from bad decision making, stupid. It came from me never finding the man that I wanted to be with. I don't know in what delusional world y'all men live in where you think that it was all of these wonderful, great men running around when we was in our 20s and we just passed up on all of these great guys. The attractive men when we were in our 20s were doing what attractive men do, which is be players, talk to a whole bunch of different women, and never want to settle down. You do understand that, right? So given that the attractive men in their 20s didn't want to settle down, that left us with ugly dudes, dudes with kids, and dudes who didn't have themselves together. It's the same thing now that I'm older. The options didn't go from good to bad. It went from bad to worse, right? Now, instead of dudes just having kids, they got kids and grandchildren. And if you think some of them was unattractive back then, add on now the fact that some of them is out of shape, they ain't got no hairline, and they missing side teeth. They wasn't financially stable in their 20s, and a lot of them still ain't financially stable. Some of them still paying child support from the same babies that they was having when they was in their 20s. Y'all got to start being for real. These podcast lies that all of these men was going to get older and they was just going to become these rich men, that didn't happen for most of them. Sorry. A lot of the men in their 20s who was doing all that settling down and getting married were undesirable men. Men on the verge of losing their hairlines. Men who didn't have no bunch of options of women to choose from in the first place. That's the reason why it was so easy for them to settle down. And just like anything else, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. And I'm sure some women got lucky and they were able to find desirable men to settle down with in their 20s. But the exceptions don't make the rule. And I'd argue how many of those women and men are still married to this day. How many of those marriages actually lasted? Shout out to the ones that did. I know how y'all like to rewrite history and pretend as if it was all of these wonderful, great men for us to choose from in our 20s, and we just wanted to be outside and we wanted to party with our girls and we didn't want to settle down. That's not what was happening. The options weren't there back then. And you're still in the same position. The dudes who older, who are still desirable, they still don't want to settle down. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. It just gets worse. That's the part you missing.
So he feels like you can't say that the way that you used to look and the way that you're out here moving, right? Now, I'm going to share these videos for y'all to kind of get a sense of what he's referring to, where Dana has referenced, hitting the wall, how she's referenced, just responding to being overweight and the way that she used to move when she was overweight, her decision to make changes. And we're going to come back and talk about that as well.
Was I obese? Yes. Real fat. Real fat. Right? Did that all on my own. Eating good and not exercising. I did that. You know what I also did when I decided that I didn't want to be fat no more? I got in that gym on my own. I got in that kitchen and cooked that food and ate healthy on my own. No surgery, no help, no shot, no nothing. Just me, God, in that gym. Remember, anytime you want to post my fat pictures, remember I gave those pictures to you. Nobody snapped those pictures off guard. Nobody posted those pictures to the internet without my permission. I put those pictures on the internet. It was one of the first videos that I had go viral on TikTok was my before and afters because it was so shocking. How could somebody make a transformation like that without no surgery, without no help? Because that's who I am. When I'm dedicated to doing something, I get stuff done. I know how much your ugly, big mega mind head would love to push the idea that I was just fat the whole time. But anybody who's actually followed my platform for years know how the story goes, which is that I was thick with a nice shape initially. And I was being over-sexualized by men. But I was having my way. I was having my way out here. Men were treating me extremely well, right? Because they wanted to sleep with me, but they never got a chance to because I would finesse them, right? I would get what I wanted and I would go. These stories, all of these stories have been told on my page. Anybody who truly pays attention to my platform have heard all of this before. But eventually, all of that got old, right? I didn't want to play them games no more. I was tired of being over sexualized. The men wasn't trying to be serious. A lot of them had records. A lot of them had kids. A lot of them was ugly like you. And they ain't had nothing going for themselves and they was broke like you. Right? And so I quit dating. The same way I quit dating right now, I quit dating back then. And that's when I put on the weight, when I stopped dating. So when I was going through that transition of being fat, I wasn't dating. So nobody was running through me ugly. But men who got mamas as hoes will never understand the idea of women having standards and not sleeping around. I done said that before. The way you watched your mama get whored out, ain't no way you can believe that there's decent women. I understand that. And that part, I empathize with you. Because I can't imagine having a slut as a mama and then having to rationalize the fact that all women are not like your mama.
So I think that Dana does a very good job of just owning it, and now I got to address that. I'm going to own it. And she says she's been very transparent, which I've seen photos of her sharing her weight loss journey and her weight going up and down and gym stuff. And, like her content has changed. At least I've seen it shift a little bit more where she's showing more of herself than just like recording, head up, whatever. But I will say that I do think that the video was it was kind of contradicting, not kind of, it was a lot of contradictions in there, where you're saying I was over sexualized, but then I also used men and I got what I want. I didn't have sex with them, so it's kind of like, okay, then you're also saying that again, there's no good men out here. You hit the wall. You're also saying there's no good men out here. You're saying that there's not a lot of options. So I think it's a lot of, it's hard to kind of tell if it's really truly because I want to be single or because I have no options, right? And I think I always thought that that's not the truth for me, but it's my opinion. I think that I just want women to be happy and in love, right? And I want that for Dana. I want that for women to just find a good person for them and be happy in love, right? So I think this man is like, no, you're not about to get off. You're not about to just sit on here and call men ugly, say this, say that about women, and you used to look like this. Now, I'm not opposed to woman knowing to work on herself, changing what she looks like, her inner self, her mental health, change that to do better. So I think it's a beautiful transition. I think it's transformation, shall I say. I think it's amazing. And I think she should be proud of herself. And, just as a mutual on social media, I'm proud of that she's able to put the work in naturally and get the weight off. Right now, again, you have to decipher where we have to be realistic about, is my mindset still stuck in that way I used to think when I was big, right? Because that could be a thing. You could still be stuck in that mindset. That's why you're afraid to go out there, and why certain men might feel like, no, this is, you know what I'm saying? Because women say that. Women will say that the women who, you know, have certain things and they only got it because they look a certain way, they're desperate, whatever. And of course there's women out here who are happy to see Dana kind of get a little bit heat on there's a lot of things, but they feel like it's karma. Now we get your lip back. And I think that there's will probably more videos to come, unfortunately, from the women who hate Dana or her content per se, once they get wind of it. But I think this just shows us that we need to, as women, not like, there are good options out here. You know, there are good men out here. I think this idea that they're not available, or they was wasting time, or they was being players, and like, we just didn't want those ones. The good ones they call corny, they call weirdos, we call them whatever. So of course when you get to a certain point, the men who are your age, they're out there, they're just not looking for a woman like you, right? They're not looking for it's a little bit tricky. That's why we should be more mindful and choose better when we're younger, and get rid of all these stigmas and all the stuff that we get programmed to believe about, well, who we should be with, what they should look like, what they should be, how much money, all of that. We need to remove it as much as we can, you know. So yeah, I just think we need to be better at that. And yeah, we gotta just do better. Okay. So let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments. Of course, you know, like the video, thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next episode soon. Bye.